Azog the Slaughterer. With a name like that, you already know he's serious business. This particular Orc war boss has, in recent times of the Warhammer Fantasy timeline, managed to wreak havoc across the lands he's invaded. He's laid a trail of death and destruction across parts of the old world that he wandered with his hordes, and he's done it with actual tactics and strategy. For an Orc, that's almost unprecedented, but that's why this fellow's a legendary lord in Warhammer Total War after all. We'll discuss his magical gear first, with one exception, and then we'll dive into his story. On the field of battle, Azog the Slaughterer is a mighty foe indeed, wearing Azeg's hard armor, which is not a spelling mistake or a failure to pronounce on my part, that's how orcs spell. And it's an armor that's blessed by Gork and Mork with protective magics that made him nearly impervious to blows. In his powerful hands he carried Slagger's Slashers, a pair of magic-imbued choppers that made him deadly in hand-to-hand combat. And that's not even the best of his gear, but we'll get to that part in the storytime portion of his video. So Azog's tale starts out in the frozen northlands of Kislev, in the area known to most people as Troll Country, a land swept by the fell powers of chaos and inhabited by some mighty twisted creatures. In this land of doom, death, and other such assorted things, there are a bunch of greenskin tribes, because the greenskins are nothing if not resilient. When Azog's tribe was attacked by a warband of Chaos Warriors, he rallied the boys to go get some revenge, and they ended up in the long-abandoned human city of Todheim. This city had long ago become infested with chaos, but Azog even then lived up to the name he would eventually get, and slaughtered his way through the lot of them, coming face to face with a Chaos Troll. He slew the beast, and like all good troll killers, had a look through the piles of bones and loot that the troll had collected, and in this den of evil, Azog found his prize. For you see, Azog had the good fortune, or the bad, depending on who you ask, to find amidst this pile of loot an ancient artifact of great power that he really should have just left there. The thing he'd found was Nagash's Crown of Sorcery. Yeah, Nagash, the original necromancer and a wannabe god of death, had long ago imbued part of his spirit into this crown, and when Azog put it atop his head, it began whispering to him. Tactics and strategy came into his mind, and as he led the tribe out of the city, he began to plan. The power of his new symbol of authority spoke to him, and he led his tribe over the next few years to conquer all who would oppose him. Despite the strength of Nagash's spirit, Azog never truly fell under his influence completely, and indeed he managed to control the power of the Fell Crown somewhat, though it cost him dearly as the mental battle drained him. He grew powerful in the ways of death magic, a kind of magic previously unknown to the Greenskins, and he slew his foes with impunity. Night Goblins, seeking the favour of such a powerful warlord, presented him with a mighty wyvern, Skullmuncher. Now, if you don't raise one of these creatures by hand from birth, they're almost impossible to control, but Azog managed to cow the mighty beast with a single hard-eyed stare, and on that day, his dreams grew greater still. The crown instilled in Azog a yearning to journey south, for like the One Ring and Sauron, it desired to go home to its one true master. Azog rallied his forces and swept south through Kislev and into the Empire. An orc war boss that used tactics and strategy was almost unheard of, and the forces of men fell before him as his fellow greenskins had done. At the Battle of Butcher's Hill, Azog surrounded an imperial army and slaughtered a lot of them, earning his nickname the Slaughterer, and securing his place in the history of the Empire. He was finally brought low, however, by the mutterings of the crown as it drove him to journey ever further south and back to Nehekara. The mental battle that had gone on between Azog and the crown was their downfall, for during the Battle of Osterwald, as the Orc war boss fought the Grand Master of the Knights Panther in single combat, blade to blade, the crown's constant attacks on Azog for control of his mind proved fatal. Distracted at a critical moment, the Grand Master was able to strike past Azog's defences and slay him, breaking the Greenskin horde and routing them from the field. In the aftermath of the carnage, the Grand Theogenist of Sigmar, who had also been present at the battle, found Azog's body, and the Foul Crown of Sorcery, taking the ancient relic of evil back to the Imperial capital, and sealing it in the grand vaults beneath the Temple of Sigmar. A scourge to the Empire was thus gone. So obviously, some of the lore in this case doesn't really fit, seeing as Azog is supposed to be, well, dead. But I can see why CA would choose to use him, because he's pretty damn cool, and I mean, Grimgor Ironhide and him are kind of a nice pair to go with. They're interesting. So I can see why they chose him, and let's face it, with the name like the Slaughterer, he kind of fits in a Total War title. So in this case, I'm actually willing to look past the lore inconsistencies and just roll with it, because I can't wait to play this guy on the field. So this has been another lore video with me, Grey Hunter, and I will see you guys in the next one, where God knows what we'll be talking about, but it'll be something Warhammer lore related. So until then, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.